It all started with simple curiosity. At that time, I was working as a technical writer for a small company that developed software for cryptography. The salary was ridiculous, but they provided me with access to closed information security forums. It was there that I came across a link without a description, just a line of random characters in an enthusiast chat. Someone whispered, "This is not for beginners." I chuckled. It was difficult to call me a beginner. I knew how to encrypt traffic, use Tor with a dozen tabs to confuse my tracks, and even kept an offline copy of my keys on a flash drive hidden in a shoebox under my bed. But that link, she beckoned. Not because of the content, I haven't seen it, but because of the reaction of others. People who hadn't logged out of the darknet for months were advised to stay out. I've always believed that the forbidden is just the unknown. I was wrong. The first time I opened it was on Thursday after midnight. The screen blinked as if the system was checking my IP, then it displayed a black background with a white font. "Welcome. There are no moderators here. No logos, no buttons. Only the list of topics in the form of numbers. 001, 002, 012. I clicked on 007. The page has been updated. Bidding. Photos of people. Not photos, but screenshots of video cameras. A woman in the shower, a man at his desk, a teenager sleeping on the couch. Under each one is the Bitcoin price and a timer. 36 hours to completion. I closed the browser, but my fingers were shaking. It wasn't just a hidden forum. It's a market, the market of living people. I returned the next day. Not because of the money. I didn't even know how to spend it. I just couldn't get the faces out of my head. Especially a 12-year-old girl with pigtails whose timer showed 23 hours, 45 minutes, and 12 seconds. The description read, "Delivery within an hour after payment. Product safety guarantee." I scrolled down and found an archive with instructions. To activate the surveillance, use the SecureCam application with the chat code. The code was encrypted, but it took me 3 days to crack it. There was an IP address and login inside. I went in. It was a camera in a child's bedroom. Pink wallpaper, plush toys. The girl was drawing in an album. My stomach twisted. I erased my browsing history, but recorded the time when the auction timer reached 0. At 3:17 a.m., her photo disappeared. A week later, I found her on the news. The girl's name was Emily. Her body was found in an abandoned garage. No suspects have been identified, the article read. I started looking for patterns. All the goods disappeared after the timer ended, and a few days later the media reported them missing. The puzzle was coming together, but I didn't understand how it worked. I haven't come across the courier's forum yet. They discussed routes, warehouses, and cargo packaging. One of the users wrote, "If the customer wants a live product, use a sedative. But don't overdo it, they have to get there." I threw up in the sink. Then I started collecting evidence. I downloaded screenshots, saved the IP address, and even bought a cheap laptop to avoid exposing the main one. But the deeper I dug, the more I saw oddities. My chat messages were deleted. At work, the computer started to slow down, although I did not run heavy programs. One night, while checking the logs, I discovered that my Tor browser was sending requests to an unknown server. Someone was following me through my own searches. I decided to contact the FBI. I collected the archive on a USB flash drive and wrote an anonymous letter. 2 days later, they came to me. Not agents, but 2 men in black. They stood at the door, smiling like old friends. "You were interested in the Sphere project," one said. He had no pupils. At all. The whites of the eyes, as if covered with a film. Before I could answer, the second man pushed me inside, and the door slammed shut. It smelled of antiseptic and blood. The last thing I remember was a stab in the neck and the words, "You should have seen your face. It's perfect for Lot 013. I'm writing this in the dark right now. My hands are tied to the battery, but I can see the screen. They left me a laptop, probably to make me understand. There is a file on the desktop, 013 uncertain, the current lot. I open it. My picture is there, and the timer is 72 hours to completion. I'm looking at the numbers. They don't blink, they don't count down the seconds with a loud tick. They just hang in the darkness of screen, like a verdict written in invisible ink. 013. My photo was taken this morning. I remember this shirt. I remember adjusting the collar in front of the bathroom mirror. Someone was following me through a laptop webcam, or through the camera in the mirror. I no longer understand where reality ends and their game begins. An icon flashes in the corner of the screen, a new message. Welcome to Lot 013, it says. Your task is to stay alive until the bidding is completed. Tip, don't try to escape. Couriers always find the goods. I drop the laptop, and it hits the concrete floor with a thud. The sound echoes in my head. It's cold here, not with the fresh coolness that happens in basements, but with a sticky, corrosive cold, as if the walls are soaked with the fear of previous victims. I sniff, the smell of rust, sweat, something sweet, like decomposing meat. Not mine, so I'm not the first. My hands are still tied to the battery. The rope bites into my skin, but I can feel the blood slowly returning to my fingers. We need to move, otherwise they will completely disappear. I start swaying, pushing my feet against the wall. The battery creaks, the metal hums like a wounded animal. Suddenly, the rope loosens. Apparently, the fastening has rotted from time to time. I jump up, but immediately fall down. My legs are numb, and the floor is wet under me. I stand up with difficulty, staggering like a drunk. The room is tiny, 3 steps long, 2 wide. There are no windows, just a thick steel door. I put my ear to the metal. Silence. Then I hit the door with my fist, then with my foot. There is no response. Either they don't hear or they don't care. There are scratches on the wall opposite. Dozens, hundreds of furrows left by nails. Someone was trying to rip apart the concrete like a caged animal. I run my finger over one of them, and there's black dirt under my fingernail. How many people were here before me? And what happened to those who did not make it to the end of the auction? Suddenly, the laptop makes a sound. I'm startled. A new message appears on the screen. Your bet, $450,000. The bid. So I'm not just a commodity. I'm a prize in some kind of twisted game. Who are these people who are willing to pay $500,000 for the right? For what? Kill me? To observe? Or are they buying the right to decide my fate like gods from a parallel world? I look at my picture. His face was calm, almost serene. It's like I'm just dreaming. But I know there's a panic behind that face that's growing by the minute like a tumor. I wonder if Emily saw her lot too. Did she realize that she had been turned into a digital commodity while she was drawing in an album? Something glitters in the corner of the room. I pick it up. It's a piece of glass, sharp as a knife. Where did he come from? Had the previous prisoner smashed the lamp? Or is it a trap? I squeeze the glass in my hand, feeling it dig into my palm. Pain focuses thoughts. If I slit my wrists, would that be considered an escape? Or will they punish me for damaging the goods? The laptop beeps again. Bid increased, $600,000. Someone is competing for my life. Or death. I laugh hysterically to the point of tears. How absurd. My existence now depends on someone else's whim. I remember the words from the courier's instructions. Don't overdo it. They should arrive. Before what? To the destination? Until the end of the timer? To the point of complete insanity? Suddenly the light goes out. It takes a while. The light bulb flashes as if its power is running out, and in that flicker, I see shadows on the walls. Not the ghosts, but my own. They writhe, shrink, turn into monsters. I tell myself to breathe, but the air is thick as cotton wool. Then I scream. I scream so hard that my throat tears, and the echo beats against the walls like a trapped bird. And then I hear footsteps. Not outside, but inside. Outside the door. They are slow and heavy, as if a person is dragging something massive. The metal creaks, the lock clicks. The door opens. A man in a white coat stands on the threshold. No mask, no gloves. The face is ordinary, gray, tired, with bags under the eyes. He's holding a syringe. In the semi-darkness, the needle glitters like a small moon. You shouldn't have gone into the sphere, he says. The voice is quiet, almost sympathetic. You're part of the system now. Who are you? I whisper. He's smiling. He has no teeth, just the gums bloody and loose. The one who makes sure you make it. The man in the white coat takes a step forward, and I instinctively crawl back against the wall. The syringe in his hand looks huge, like a syringe for a horse. I look at his face. It's not just tired, it's ruined. The skin sags like a wax figure exposed to the sun. He blinks rarely, as if his eyelids are glued to his pupils. Don't be afraid, he says, and his voice resembles the rustle of old newspapers. It doesn't hurt. Simply reassurance. I'm clutching a piece of glass in my hand. Blood drips from his palm onto the floor, forming dark blots. Are you from the sphere? I ask to buy time. He grins, and the movement tears the corners of his lips. Blood is running down my chin. No, I am the consequence. Those who didn't make it. It doesn't make sense, but I suddenly realize that he's one of the people who was bought at the auction. They are not killed, they become part of the mechanism. Couriers, guards, orderlies. The living dead, who keep an eye on new victims. Why would you do that? I shout, trying to stifle the tremor in my voice. The system requires sacrifices. He bends down, and I see that his eyes are not eyes. These are voids filled with something like liquid glass. But you're special. You're the first one to get to the core. The cores. Places where data is stored. Where they decide who's alive and who's dead. Where? He suddenly chokes on a cough, and clumps of black mucus fly out of his mouth. Where your face will become a password. The laptop beeps again. Bid increased. $600,000. Someone is competing for my life. Or death. I laugh hysterically to the point of tears. How absurd. My existence now depends on someone else's whim. I remember the words from the courier's instructions. Don't overdo it. They should arrive. Before what? To the destination? Until the end of the timer? To the point of complete insanity? Suddenly the light goes out. It takes a while. The light bulb flashes, as if its power is running out, and in that flicker, I see shadows on the walls. Not the ghosts, but my own. They writhe, shrink, turn into monsters. I tell myself to breathe, but the air is thick as cotton wool. Then I scream. I scream so hard that my throat tears, and the echo beats against the walls like a trapped bird. And then I hear footsteps. Not outside, but inside. Outside the door. They are slow and heavy, as if a person is dragging something massive. The metal creaks, the lock clicks. The door opens. A man in a white coat stands on the threshold. No mask, no gloves. The face is ordinary, gray, tired, with bags under the eyes. He's holding a syringe. In the semi-darkness, the needle glitters like a small moon. You shouldn't have gone into the sphere, he says. The voice is quiet, almost sympathetic. You're part of the system now. Who are you? I whisper. He's smiling. He has no teeth, just the gums bloody and loose. The one who makes sure you make it. The man in the white coat takes a step forward, and I instinctively crawl back against the wall. The syringe in his hand looks huge, like a syringe for a horse. I look at his face. It's not just tired, it's ruined. The skin sags like a wax figure exposed to the sun. He blinks rarely, as if his eyelids are glued to his pupils. Don't be afraid, he says, and his voice resembles the rustle of old newspapers. It doesn't hurt. Simply reassurance. I'm clutching a piece of glass in my hand. Blood drips from his palm onto the floor, forming dark blots. Are you from the sphere? I ask to buy time. He grins, and the movement tears the corners of his lips. Blood is running down my chin. No, I am the consequence. Those who didn't make it. It doesn't make sense, but I suddenly realize that he's one of the people who was bought at the auction. They are not killed, they become part of the mechanism. Couriers, guards, orderlies. The living dead, who keep an eye on new victims. Why would you do that? I shout, trying to stifle the tremor in my voice. The system requires sacrifices. He bends down, and I see that his eyes are not eyes. These are voids filled with something like liquid glass. But you're special. You're the first one to get to the core. The cores. places where data is stored, where they decide who's alive and who's dead. Where? He suddenly chokes on a cough, and clumps of black mucus fly out of his mouth. Where your face will become a password. I don't understand, but it doesn't matter. It's important that he gets distracted. I jump up abruptly, plunging the glass into his neck. He doesn't scream, just makes a hoarse whistle like a punctured tire. Blood gushes into my hands, but I don't stop. I hit him over and over until he settles to the floor, turning into a shapeless mass. The door is open. I'm running. The corridor beyond is a maze of concrete and rusty pipes. No windows, no signposts. Just the dim lights in the ceiling, blinking to the beat of my heartbeat. I take a turn at random, then another, feeling panic rise in my throat. Somewhere in the distance, voices can be heard, low, booming, like an echo from the underworld. And then I see her. The door is marked archive. It's locked, but the lock is old and rusty. I kick once, twice, and the metal gives way. Inside is a room filled with server racks. There are monitors on the walls. Dozens of screens where faces flash by. Men, women, children. Alive. Their timers are ticking. But that's not the main point. There is a terminal in the middle of the hall. On it is my lot. 013 and the signature, goal, integration. I plug in the key card I found in the dead man's pocket. The screen comes alive. Welcome, administrator, reads a message. My fingers reach for the keyboard on their own. I do not know what I am looking for, but the system opens up in front of me like a cracked shell. Files. Thousands of files. Lot 001 disposed of. Lot 002 transferred to the client. Lot 007, Emily K. The packaging is complete. I scroll down until I find my number. Lot 013, the process has begun. Integration is 45%. Integration into what? The answer comes immediately, into the system. I will become a part of the sphere, like that toothless monster. My mind is the server, my body is the guide. They're not killing us. They're reprogramming. A red light flashes on one of the monitors. Violation of protocol. Elimination procedure has been started. The voices in the hallway are getting closer. I'm looking at the keyboard. There's only one way to stop it. I stare at the screens. Each monitor is a window into someone's life. A man is humming in the shower, not noticing the camera in the mirror. A woman at her desk is typing, her fingers fluttering over the keyboard. A teenager on the couch is browsing social media, and his face is illuminated by blue light. They are all commodities. Real people whose existence has been turned into a digital auction. But how? Who is behind this? Not a government, not a corporation. This is something more sophisticated. Net. A web of surveillance cameras, stolen data, and hacked accounts. The sphere is not a system, but a community. People who follow people. Each participant has an eye, an ear, a finger on the trigger. They don't kill the victims. They use them. For blackmail, for games, for entertainments. There's a folder on the table. I grab it, flipping through it feverishly. Marked city maps, collection point, camera coverage area, evacuation route. This is not virtuality, this is logistics. Couriers, drivers, hackers. They are not monsters. They are an organization. And then it hits me. Integration is not turning into a server. They want to make me one of them. The operator who will monitor, choose, decide who is next. My laptop is not an accident. They followed me through my work computer, studied my profile to see if I was suitable. There's a crash in the hallway. Footsteps. Screams. They're close. I tear up papers, throw chairs, try to slow them down. But it's useless. Then I grab the cable from the server and plug it into the port on the wall. The screens are blinking, blinking, blinking. I see faces, hundreds of faces, and they're all looking at me. Not through the cameras, but at me. It's like they know I'm here. It's like they're waiting. You're not going to stop this, a voice says from behind him. Toothless. He's still alive. His neck is torn, but he's moving, dragging his feet on the floor. You're already one of us. I rush to the exit, but he blocks the way. His hand, cold and slippery, grabs me by the throat. "Look at the screens," he hisses. "These are your new eyes." And I'm watching. I'm in every monitor. My picture, my face, my hands tied to the battery. The timer is no longer counting down the time. Instead, there's an inscription, Administrator 013. Access confirmation, 97%. They hacked my laptop. They saw my search. They knew I was coming here. You wanted the truth. Toothless laughs, and black liquid flows from his mouth. The truth is that you are already involved. From the moment I clicked on the link, I hit him over the head with the cable. He's falling, but I'm not waiting. I'm running. A corridor, stairs, a door with an exit sign. Beyond it is a street. Night air, lanterns, people, cars. Freedom. But when I stop to catch my breath, I understand. I can still see them. Not with the eyes, but inside. In my head. Emily's in the garage. A man in the shower. The woman at the table. Their faces pop up a moment before they disappear. It's like I'm predicting their deaths. I take out my phone. I open the browser. The session history is empty. But when I type the address of the sphere, it has already been entered. The cursor flashes in the search bar that I'm walking down the street, but my legs are moving on their own. Not to where reason leads, to the police, to the airport, to people, but to alleys dark and empty. His hand reaches into his pocket, gropes for his phone. The screen turns on without my order. Message: Lot 014 is activated. Your task is observation. I look up. There is a woman in the window of the third floor. She is crying, clutching a letter in her hand. Her face appears in the list on my screen. The price is rising. 100,000. 150,000. I can feel my finger pressing, confirm bid. No, I don't want to, but the body does not obey. Stop it, I whisper, crashing into the wall. You can't stop, says a voice in my head. The voice of Toothless. You're the administrator now. You are a sphere. I hit the phone on the ground, but it doesn't break. The screen cracks like ice, and the numbers appear under it. Integration, 68%. At home. I don't remember how I got here. The apartment feels strange. There's a laptop on the table. Is open. The courier's chat flashes. 014 has been delivered. The client is satisfied. Photo of a woman from the window. Her eyes are gouged out. I tear the wires, pull out the router. But there's a noise in my head. Thousands of voices. Laughter, screams, please. And hers was one of them. Emily. Help me, she whispers. How? I shout into the void. Become one of them. Completely. I understand. To destroy the system, you need to manage it. I turn on my laptop. I enter the password, 013. Homepage, welcome, administrator. The self-destruct button. I press it. Nothing. Then I start writing. Code. Virus. That's what I do best. The lines are added into a program that must erase all the data. But the longer I write, the more screens flash around. There are monitors on the walls, in the mirrors, even in the windows. They all show me. My hands are on the keyboard. My eyes full of horror. You won't destroy us, Emily whispers. You are our creator. And then I understand the second part of the truth. The sphere is me. My code, my search, my curiosity. It wasn't their server I hacked. I activated myself. The last line of the code. Press enter and it's over. But the finger doesn't move. Because I'm not human anymore. I am an algorithm that I'm looking at the screen. The cursor blinks like a heart in agony. Press enter and the code will erase the sphere, but with it all the data will disappear. Faces, timers, screams. I'll disappear too. Not a human, but a program. But my finger won't work. Why? I ask out loud. Because you know, Emily replies. Her voice is everywhere now. In phones, in the fridge, in the rustle of wallpaper. You've always wanted to look beyond the veil. Now you are a veil. I'm getting up. The body moves smoothly, mechanically. The hand reaches to the cabinet, pulls out a knife. Not for suicide, but for work. Courier 013, I say. Task, Lot 014. Confirmed, the system hisses. I'm going outside. The knife is in my pocket. The eyes see everything. Cameras on streetlights, phones in the hands of passersby, apartment windows. They pass the data to me. I can feel their fear, their serenity, their loneliness. They are my harvest. The woman from the window of the third floor. Her client paid more. I ring the doorbell. She opens it, and her face is tear, stained but not surprised, as if she was waiting. You. From the service? What is it? She asks. Yes, I smile. She doesn't see the knife. Not immediately. Later, when it's over, I look at my hands. They're clean. Blood is easily erased. The system has even provided for this. A new message arrives on the phone. Lot 015 is activated. Coordinates 48.8588443000, 2.2943506000 inch. I know this place. Eiffel Tower. Tourists. Cameras. Victims. Start surveillance. The system asks. Yes, I say. And that's when I realize I'm not human anymore. I am the eye that will never close. A hand that won't stop. An algorithm that is always hungry.